There's an alleged wolf cryptid that's said to roam the Allegheny National Park in Kane, Pennsylvania. The first sighting in 2017 describes it as tall, muscular, dark hair and strange legs. This newer sighting 2 years later at the same location does show a mysterious creature with long pointy wolf-like ears, but I'm not sure if it's real. First of all, when it takes a step at 44 seconds, the legs look normal and I'm pretty sure it's wearing clothes, not fur. Even the uploader of this video thinks it could have been a kid playing a joke. He says that the creature turned and ran after this video was taken, which I guess could have happened. But something about this video seems like it could have been made up, so I'm not exactly sure what to believe.
On 3830 McMahon Road sits a lone white house which at first glance looks rather unassuming, but is actually a source of otherworldly evil. A place so foul that not even 2 separate exorcisms could fully cleanse its walls. Over 800 Native Americans are said to have lost their lives in the surrounding hills against federal forces, many of whom are thought to be buried under the Hinsdale house, fueling its foundations with anger. And that's just the beginning. Sometime in the 1800s, 2 outlaw brothers used this New York property as their sick trophy room. They would go after stagecoaches and left behind no witnesses. The bodies were mostly kept in the attic or left in the basement without a care. Outside, more lives were taken over the years at a pond and also at an old tree at just the right height for a rope, which was later struck by lightning. Nowadays, the heavily haunted Hinsdale house has become a location for ghost hunters like John and Amanda of Elevated Vlogs to explore whatever secrets lie within. John and Amanda are amateur ghost hunters without much paranormal experience, so their reactions are about as raw as it gets. Their night begins with a tour from the house's current owner, a man named Daniel Clays, who spared this house from getting demolished in 2015. He seems to have formed a truce with the spirits in return for saving them. The way he talks about his experiences, the more activity their camera catches around him.
There's definitely something that's sinister, maybe darker, that comes out once in a while. But your best thing is to just ignore it and move on and go do something else. We were just standing in the kitchen and we had a camera on ourselves and they were talking about the exorcism this, exorcism that. And
Daniel leaves them to explore the house on their own.
And just kind of do a little explore before we sit down anywhere. And
did you hear that?
They also hear this noise, the sound someone makes with a hand over their mouth.
But he said he has experienced somewhat of something dark here. Experience.
They enter the room of Mary Dandy, the youngest daughter of a family who lived here during the 1970s, and find bugs on their backs, legs up. An odd characteristic that the room has become known for. An entity has attached itself here, something foul enough to attract flies and send them lifelessly to the floor without its presence. Or maybe these flies were placed here by Daniel to fool John and Amanda. Either way, the activity only seems to increase ever since standing in Mary's room. I think something runs ahead of them down the stairs into the basement. Maybe the final steps of someone trying to get away during a terrible event.
Most people that check this place out will come with a team.
Oh yeah, I'll go down first so you can show them this really cool... Did you hear that?
What was that?
And when they try to communicate with it, a scared little girl's voice comes across the airwaves.
Are you okay with us staying here tonight?
They decide to head back into Mary's room. Again, their spirit box picks up the same crying girl as before.
Are you okay with us being in this room? Can we sit here?
And this is the 3rd time they pick up her voice. Definitely the same girl the whole time.
Are we safe?
She's following them from room to room, and maybe behind her is the sinister force that Daniel warned them to stay away from. They decided to check out the attic before they get too scared. Remember what I said about the attic earlier? Sure enough, John feels a strong hand wrap his arm to pull him forward, followed by a supernatural confirmation from a gruff male voice.
Dude, I'm not even playing, man.
Did someone touch John's arm?
Like, no lie, it felt like there was just something
Dude, that sounded like yeah.
They flee downstairs to regroup and find they can no longer leave. Something's outside.
John.
Oh my
I
god.
literally heard something outside. I'm not even messing around.
Dude.
Did you hear that, dude?
No, I know. It sounded like metal tinging.
I don't hear it, but I do see it. Look again, it's a ghost caught on live stream. And even though I didn't hear it earlier, I do hear chains rattling during this part when they get closer to the door.
What's that noise?
There's nothing left to do but wait it out in the Hinsdale house. After a night of fitful sleep, they decide to explore the hillside before getting out of there fast. They're still afraid from yesterday's events, but it's their job as paranormal investigators to keep going no matter what. So with their spirit box out, they wander into the woods. Within minutes, they record a voice. I hear 3 words: I need help. Then they hear a familiar voice, the same one responsible for grabbing John's arm in the attic.
We're coming into the darker part of the woods here. Would somebody like to speak with us? Oh. Yep, that was definitely a male voice.
And this part is either Amanda's voice edited in, or else somebody is humming a creepy tune right next to John. The forest is dark and cold. I agree with John that this is a different language.
We're in the middle of the woods. There's no electrical.
They come to a part of the woods that's particularly eerie for no reason at all. It's just a feeling they both have. That's when they realize the reason for their fears could not be directly underfoot.
Did you die here?
The thought of communicating with the other side has always made me uneasy, but speaking with someone while standing on their unmarked grave, as elevated vlogs seem to have done, takes that uneasiness to a whole other level. If you have a chance to visit a former institute, don't. Published by Steve Ronan in October of 2021, this pair of scary videos will send you running for the hills. In the first video, Ronan talks about how Lechtworth is where unethical testing was done on patients. When journalists exposed this, the place was shut down. As he's putting on some gear later, he hears someone near. He thinks it's Mo.
Mo?
Another sound is heard, and it doesn't seem to be the crew.
Okay, someone else has to come with me, because I legit heard something. What the You okay?
Okay, that wasn't me.
They think it came from an adjacent room. The paranormal activity ramps up when one of the crew thinks he saw a person. They are later walking down a hallway when a door either opens or closes behind them.
Like, someone or something walking outside.
They catch the sound on 2 separate cameras.
Walking outside.
As they continue moving through Lechtworth, a sound like a rock being thrown occurs to their left.
What's this door? What the f?
They then attempt to open the doors ahead, and something shuts the door on one of them.
Nothing in here.
What was that?
What?
There's something that shut the door on me. It literally just shut the. There's someone behind the door. There's someone actually behind the door.
They pry the door open again to see if there's someone inside, but it's an empty room. As they're wondering if someone fled through the window, their answer arrives in the form of the door slamming shut.
What the f? Yo! It's hard.
It won't open and they call out for Mo to push from the other side. Mo manages to kick the door open and they're all relieved to be out of that room. They then talk to the spirits, asking them to come in contact again, and the spirits answer in kind.
If that was your way of making contact with us, can you do it again? Yo!
They race down the hallway, fleeing for their lives, but before they do, they look in this room one more time. Finding it empty again, something starts banging loudly and repeatedly in the dark hallway.
Go through the window. The bushes were rumbling too.
Still nothing to be seen. As they're heading to the stairs toward the creepy basement, a creaky door is heard opening and closing.
It's gonna take us to the basement.
Yo!
Who is that?
In the team's second video, they explore the basement, which they soon discover is just as creepy as the floor above. They attempt to speak with the demons using a phone EVP. As they're communicating, another bang is heard behind them.
Are you angry right now?
When they start challenging the demons to slam a door shut, things get a little crazy, claiming he saw the door shake a little.
Like 2 minutes. Okay. Oh, guys. It just moved.
Mo soon starts to get woozy.
Oh, I'm feeling weird. Oh.
Mo?
I'm feeling lightheaded.
Dude, your face got all pale.
Pale-faced, Mo says he feels dizzy and lightheaded and so sits down for a moment. They're heading down the stairs when Mo gets dizzy again and falls to the ground. Later, he is not being himself and becomes aggressive with the rest of the crew.
Where is he?
I don't know, man. Just be careful. He's not himself.
Has Mo become possessed? Guess that's what happens when you start challenging demons. A YouTuber named Kamadina is recording his sister and parents in a parking lot while on vacation when he gets the strange and eerie sensation that he is being watched. He turns around and walks for a bit in the direction that he feels he is being watched from, and then he zooms in. Sure enough, this pale figure stands facing him from afar. He turns around to go back into his hotel, but the feeling of eyes upon him returns. He turns around to take in the figure one last time, who is still standing in the same spot far away from all of the cars and everything else of interest. Their white outfit looks suspiciously bright given the low lighting.
That was weird. Wait a minute.
Kamadina hasn't a clue as to what this could be, or if one day he will see it again soon, much closer next time. In this lost tape, some young punks are playing around with a brown paper bag, throwing it at each other, before they go to plant it on the doorstep of a stranger. Once it's placed there and lit, one of the punks knocks on the door and races away, while the old man homeowner opens the door to find it flaming there and stomps it out. It probably didn't seem so funny when the men attempted to prank him for a second time. This time the old man comes after them and they just manage to escape. But the third time's a charm. When the prank is attempted a third time, the man is waiting for them. He peers down through the curtains of the door window, whips open the door to strike the young guy on the head, and then drags him into the house. When the two others go to investigate, they videotape the front hallway, where the old man is seen leaving into the next room. They then head around the outside of the house and into the backyard. That's where they meet their maker. No other information on what happened next could be found.
This is a huge 10-foot fish. Even the locals don't even know what this is.
This underwater discovery is scary to visitors and locals alike because never before have they seen such a strange sea creature sighting. It's unknown exactly when this video was taken. Somewhere in Mexico is the best I could find, but I can tell you what this is called. It's an oarfish, and it gets its name because it's roughly as long as a rowing paddle. Everyone is perplexed by what to them is a mysterious encounter. In reality, the oarfish looks twice as aggressive as a shark, but actually poses no harm to you unless you are underwater plankton. Its main diet, strange appearance aside, there's one other reason to be afraid of this fish. According to Japanese folklore, oarfish wash ashore when an earthquake is coming soon. Apparently it's happened so many times in the past that they've even done experiments to see if it's true. They weren't able to prove the myth true, but one lead scientist talked about changes in catfish behavior that have been observed up to 10 days before an earthquake. So if a catfish acts strange before an earthquake, then an oarfish could too, in my opinion. If anyone knows the date and location of this video, then please tell me. That way I could look up any reports of seismic activity after this video was taken to see if the legends are true. Impending earthquake or not, seeing this creature wash ashore on a sunny day and not knowing what it was would be enough to make me grab my luggage and get the heck out of there. That's one freaky fish I'd rather not chance brushing across in the water.
A live ceremony in France starts out normal enough until 7 minutes and 11 seconds when an object moves on its own like a ghost is about to throw it. The object levitates until the clergyman puts his hands down, at which point it stops. This happened on live TV in front of thousands, so someone tell me how it could be fake. Stranger still, a man in the audience claims to have seen a supernatural apparition in the dark doorway, a ghostly figure with a white face and hair who watches the ceremony from afar. The full version of this video has never been put online, to my knowledge, but this picture apparently shows the figure. I think there is a good chance that it is Photoshop, but it looks creepy and is worth mentioning. So if anyone out there is good with Photoshop, then let me know if this is a real picture, or if this scary face was edited.
Mysterious rare creatures walk this earth, and most of us will never get a chance to see them, until now. Shared by YouTuber Satpam Horror, this creature is known as a parakang in Indonesian. And this is what it sounds like. If this isn't some expert makeup, then I am 100% terrified. The sound coming from this creature also makes my skin crawl. Its glowing eyes and small sharp teeth look demonic. One thing's for sure, I would never search for this creature.
Are you an arachnophobe? Well, you're about to be. Posted to TikTok by Anna Faze in August of 2019. Anna explains that this spider was found lurking in her garage. Sorry, but you gotta move out, mama, she writes. The clip shows a ridiculously huge spider, which some in the comments note is a wolf spider. At first, it appears unusually furry, but when the camera zooms in, it's clear the mama has got a bunch of baby spiders clinging to it. A TikToker comments, I was like, oh, that's an interesting pattern, and then realized those are her children. Imagine dozens of these spiders full grown taking over your house. Instead of squishing it or torching the garage altogether, the humane TikToker captures it in a jar and releases it into the wild. Many in the comments said this video was creepy for the viewer, with some feeling like they were itching all over from watching it. To those who feel the same, I have just one question. What's that on your shoulder?
A live streamer named Lothar is in the middle of playing Hearthstone when he suddenly starts acting out of sorts. If you pay close attention to his face, you can see that he is clearly feeling some discomfort. He takes his headset off and tries to regain control over himself, but to no avail. and his wife finds him there. She tries to get him to come to his senses. Here is a brief excerpt of the call. I don't speak the language, but common sense gives me some idea of what she is saying. Still, any translations are appreciated.
Nie, ale tak wyglądało. Myślałam, że się czymś... Słucham? Tak, ale myślałam, że się czymś zadławił.
In case anyone is wondering, Lothar spent about a week recovering, but this has not happened since. While visiting Old Smoky Mountain Cemetery, YouTube crew the G-Team Paranormal are quickly met with paranormal activity. Straight away they get a reading on their paranormal device.
Right there. Wow. This is incredible.
And that reading becomes more distinct.
Look.
Yep.
Oh, that's him.
Mm-hmm.
You see him?
I see them. Almost looks like a third person.
The spirits seem to be congregating next to their headstones.
Someone's standing next to the headstone.
Right next to the headstone, yes.
Leaning on it or something.
Although the camera doesn't pick it up clearly, the ladies hear footsteps approaching.
She hears footsteps crunching. I hope it ain't a bear coming. Oh, I did.
Then, while in their vehicle, the car's reverse sensor is triggered, but there's no one behind them.
What?
What the hell?
I don't know. What is going on? It's sensing something behind us. I don't know.
There's a mysterious whisper in the darkness here, though. And before they know it, they've picked up a hitchhiking spirit.
Made me want to come here. Oh, why did all my just fall? My up here on my visor just kind of flew down. What the hell?
Patty even seems to spot one on the road.
Whoa, I'm not even gonna back up. There was somebody standing back there in a white shirt. I'm not even kidding you. Unless I'm not gonna back up, guys. I can't.
I didn't see anything, but something strange is definitely going on here. Whether a spirit has attached or not is anyone's guess. A street cam video from Papua New Guinea has caught something really bizarre on tape that I wanted to get your opinion on. A pale apparition appears to form under a street signal, and what it does next leaves government workers speechless. This ghost sighting could be a trick of the light. You can see the headlights of an approaching vehicle at 12 seconds right when the ghost supposedly flies up into the air. What they think is a ghost could be an optical illusion caused by rays of light bending towards the camera on a rainy day. When you're an urban explorer planning to explore an abandoned building, be prepared to find it occupied. All Around Lifestyle published this video in December of 2015. Mike wrote, "Me and a mate went exploring in a grain elevator, which is located in Poland in a city called Warklaw. The footage was captured on a GoPro Silver 3 edition. After exploring the cellar and several other floors, they explore the grounds. There are several other small buildings in the area, and as they approach one of them, they hear voices.
You can hear there's someone in there.
This building is as dilapidated as the rest of them, rubble on the ground, but in the far room, the guys distinctly hear several voices. Mike enters the small building, and when the people in question appear in the far doorway, he asks in Polish if he can record there. One man says yes, but another says no and tells him to leave now. Mike explains afterwards that he believes the people in the abandoned buildings were living there. Don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to run into anyone in this remote place." YouTuber Stephen G faced a very common fear in this video. someone secretly living in their house. He says that a couple years ago, he discovered a person living in his basement, in a closet under a table and a pile of bicycles. Surprisingly, the squatter had been living there for 3 months without ever being detected. Well, already this is creepy enough, but wait, it gets even creepier. Steve leads viewers from the front door of what appears to be an apartment building to his apartment, showing viewers where a stairway leads upstairs to the second and third floors. There is a random door to the side of this stairway with a window above. He notes that the door doesn't have a knob. He said that he just noticed the window yesterday, even though he's been living in this building for 3 years. So naturally, he broke in, unlocking the window for a search, and what he found was pretty terrifying. A makeshift bed appears in this random storage closet. The bed is a simple pile of blankets and a pillow, situated on a mezzanine of sorts that sits above the below door. There are also boxes in the corner and what appears to be a key laying off to the side. In part 2 of the video series, Steve manages to loop what he thinks is a key with a ski pole, but discovers it's just a keychain. In part 4 of the video series, as some YouTube comments duly note, the sheets that were originally on the bed are now folded and set on top of it. Other YouTubers note a clownish looking face appears in the bottom right hand corner of the window towards the end of the video. Yikes. Steve also says that he confronted the landlord about the space, which is obviously being lived in, and the landlord made a joke about it, saying that when he gets in a fight with his wife, he lays low in this secret room. I don't know what's creepier, a secret squatter or a landlord using this space for his own man cave in your home. This footage comes from somewhere in the Middle East. A group of teenagers are curiously exploring an old school. They go up a flight of steps and pause when they hear a dog whining on the other side of the door. They all run down the steps and gather at the bottom. They're afraid of being attacked by a group of stray dogs now, but they decide to press on and explore the lower areas. The group finds bravery in their numbers and begins to joke and laugh again as they make their way down a long hallway. They open a door and find graffiti on the wall. Other people had been here before them. Maybe this place isn't so bad after all. The teens grow a little more nervous as they continue to poke around. They are laughing less and starting to go silent. Something just isn't right about this section of the building. A YouTuber named Zabin Jaguar translated their comments. He says at this point one of the teens say that their phone shut itself off even though it was fully charged only a moment ago. Another person was able to keep recording, though they probably now wish they hadn't. They enter one classroom in particular and get a dreadful feeling. Suddenly a figure actually appears out of thin air and walks towards them. The ghost is missing his head, but there's somehow no blood. A loud chanting begins as soon as the ghost walks towards them, but this may be prayers from a nearby mosque. Amazingly, the group all appears to have missed the ghost, which explains why they calmly continue to keep exploring. They wouldn't see the apparition until much later, but when they did, they would never forget what was heading straight towards them in that room. As so many of these videos show, darkness is a recipe for the scariest things imaginable. Posted by YouTuber Ricardo Costa in June of 2009, the uploader writes, "A strange shape is spotted at dawn at the Santos Dumont building. In the first pass, it is possible to see only a spectrum without a definite shape, but something that resembles some type of animal. But then it is possible to see a more concrete form of a creature. Never imagined, and still realized that one more accompanies it in a quick jump and soon after disappears without a trace or idea of what they were. In the clip, some men are sitting in the dark when beyond them, a figure is seen moving quickly past. What that figure is, you can't really tell, as its movements are too quick and there is little light. As the men all jump up to pursue the creature, you glimpse it again for a brief moment as it crawls past a silver of light in the room. It looks like it's doing a bear crawl. They wander around in the darkness a bit longer, searching for the creature, but it seems to have disappeared, or perhaps it's in hiding. Some in the comments suggest it's a feral being, possibly even the rake. What do you think it is? Whether human or not, seeing and hearing something move like this in the darkness would certainly make me freak out. Kaylin Speaks published this video in 2013. In the description, he writes, "So I wanted to drop a skit, but something paranormal happened in my house last week, and I'm not talking about a little shadow. In the morning, when my family was either out or sleeping, a garbage bin in one of the rooms of my house got thrown out at my dog, and we caught it on camera. This is completely real." Kaylin says this isn't a prank. So let's take a look at what happened.
She'd have to be behind it and hit her with her nose or her paws if she could somehow. But she's not. She's right beside it. And look, she's running. She's hauling out of the office. She's scared. Something...
Kaylin shows the security footage of the downstairs hallway. He says no one was on this first floor at the time. In the clip, the dog runs in, sliding under a hallway table, while a small garbage bin with garbage in it slides in alongside her. Then the dog darts into another room. Kaylin thought initially that the dog had just been greedily eating from the trash, and then suddenly got spooked by something and darted off, knocking the trash bin over and taking it with her for a short distance. Then he explains why he thought differently after reanalyzing the video. He says in order for the bin to be launched that far with such force, the dog would have had to hit it, and in order to hit it, she would have to be behind it, but she was running beside it at the beginning of the clip. The bin is also rolling for an inordinate amount of time after hitting the wall for 1 or 2 minutes, according to Kaylin, while the dog watches it in fright from the hallway. At some points, the roll of the bin slows, and then it speeds up again. Is there a poltergeist controlling the trash bin? We can only guess. A TikToker named Prince of Stitches is about to go to sleep when this late night visitor takes over his spot. Moments before he lies down, the floating white smear somewhat resembles the arm and shoulder of someone sleeping on their side, perhaps someone who once passed away in this very same spot, or it could just be how the light from this mounted lamp is hitting the camera. There's a somewhat similar looking effect happening next to the lamp, shown here. Light artifacts aside, that still doesn't explain how the covers pulsate likely like the shallow breathing of someone deep asleep. Either he put something under the sheets to make them do that, exactly what I don't know, or it's time to check out and find a non-haunted hotel that won't make you room with a ghost. We've all encountered a Karen or two in our lives, but it's a rare occasion that we're faced with a Karen this far out of control. A ballistic individual was captured on video standing in the middle of an intersection, facing a bus, screaming at the top of her lungs. It's unclear what she's saying and why she's so angry, but what's become clear is that she's chosen to take her rage out on the bus. She targets the front window with her fist, shattering the glass. When she moves to the side door, what she's screaming is finally audible. She's telling someone to get off the bus. But whoever it is she's screaming at does not get off the bus, so she runs across the street, likely in order to escape prosecution for the damage done to public property. No further information could be found on this incident, so it's unknown what preceded the meltdown or followed it, if it was provoked, or why it escalated to this degree. Regardless, it seems like this went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. Thank you so much for getting me to 30,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 40,000 subscribers next. Thank you.